This is the engineered light that the demon that knows that he's being documented maintains waited until 6 p.m. so that he could monitor my vagina one last time before he left. On behalf of the state, with the African American male, this is what they do with knowledge of the documentation. They're not just sex offenders, they're sex knowledge. See you later, Dylan. It's P.O.C. He's monitoring with Securitas, so while you're engaging in that ongoing surveillance on behalf of Mike LORENZ, policing the bathroom, you're doing so with everybody else in the venue who are also in that engineer light, which is also outside. All right, I just want to document that. That's the impossible light activity. This is a stalker moving as I move. This is the one with no license plate, stalking at the James Bryant Park with no license plate at 9 a.m. And then I'm here at this same OVITT Community Library at 9 a.m. And Kelly Blacken is showing you that they're all gang stalking together. P.O.C. under the fake moon, where the entities engaged in indeed vagina monitoring. This is P.O.C. Yes, this is indeed 6JDJ737. This is the African American engagement vagina monitoring and waiting until 6 p.m. Waiting, that's literally the intent and the ability to know that unlawful sexually perverted intent on behalf of the state that finds retaliatory methods and monitoring your vagina. Okay, doing so with knowledge of the evidence, and so this entity waits until 6 p.m. to engage in that. So let me show you what is federal prison while they're stalking by helicopter. This is P.O.C. That's that third party vagina monitoring on behalf of the entity that has they know they're being disbanded. This is hopeless, pathetic conduct, and that vagina monitor is indeed going to prison. Dylan's gang stalking as well. Don't forget about that. So is Alexis, offender that's molesting, just like they are under a fake son. License plate 94057 Charlie 1 and Uber. Uber as well. I'm going to prosecute Uber with regard to the federal RICO conspiring my murder while the people of the state use that logo as a means of criminal surveillance with stalking police departments who are disbanded for kidnapping. This is relevant to that African American male engaging in vagina monitoring outside of the women's restroom, where homosexual predators, those that consume my bodily fluids, hunt them out in trash cans and dig and try to go behind in toilets to find my fluids, anything that they can consume, while they're engaged in this satanic pattern of conduct, which is why they do things as psychotic as stalking me in helicopters in this engineered environment. This is the entity that's going to be committed. Okay, you have Jay Montez. He's not just being federally prosecuted, he's being committed. You're looking at the evidence against him while the entity is engaged in vagina monitoring on behalf of that department that is not coincidentally stalking me while I'm documenting a terrorist, keeping my vagina under surveillance. This is the entity that's going to prison. This is the entity that is indeed a terrorist. This is why it's going on the internet. And then they engage in that while concealing license plates and finding, I just want to be clear, look at that smile because you're going to diagnose mental illness with that. This is the internet pattern of conduct while it is very much clear that they are engaging in what is obsessing over genitalia while they are stalking, obsessing over the genitalia of the one that they're also conspiring murder, and the entity is doing so with psychopaths like that. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the fake moon. This is the this is the engineer light. That third party and that African American male engaging in surveillance in OVITT Family Community Library. Kaylin, you have Alexis, you have Yesenia, you have the entity that is gang stalking. In other words, the employees that are engaging in surveillance. This is not a library. This is a fraudulent means of surveillance in the city of Ontario that has been fully exposed with regard to the federal RICO case against the U.S. government and with regard to what are cases for terrorists who are going to prison. They're being deported. They're losing custody of children. Is this Dr. Salty again? Serial stalker. That's federal prison. DRSALTY, very heavily documented stalking me with the Ontario Police Department. That's the pattern of conduct. 280 North Lemon Apartments are stalking. During the day, the daytime iteration is the fake sun being over me while I'm at that apartment complex. And they're stalking with light now. They're doing so with the entity that is indeed by helicopter, where the entity is also stalking by commercial planes as well, where no airport terminals 2 or 4 have any flights hovering over that apartment building while the city of Ontario is stalking. Mentally ill behavior. They're pacing an engineer light, and that's what the demons are doing while you see my pictures of the fake sun shining through the doors inside of the depths of this library after 4 or 5 p.m. That's the mentally ill that are going to be disbanded as a department. That's the mentally ill that are pacing inside of a building. And this is the mentally ill that engage in group sex acts of violence as a means of retaliation while they keep the evidence that is historic and epic with regard to groundbreaking legislation and prosecution to establish precedent in the U.S. regarding terrorism. And terrorism is underway by the Nephilim. Satan is why they're absolutely psychotic. 194 Edward Sam, that's a handicap. And their handicap is relevant to their mental illness. not a physical handicap that the DMV recognizes. They're mentally ill. That's a psychopath. That's a vagina monitor, a sex offender. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:06 p.m. and this is evidence showing you the impossible light is on the stairs. The impossible light activity is in the bathroom. The impossible light activity is in the building where they're all pacing around. This is pacing. 7 MXS 773, and that impunity is relevant to prison. Okay, you're understanding as I'm documenting video by video, the ongoing evidence in real time. This terrorism is ceaseless. So while I'm capturing video, the entity that's engaging in the pattern of conduct with the police at that time, when the entity is engaging in that, that's relevant to what is immediately federal prison. Everybody that's monitoring, everybody engaging in terrorism, which is psychologically harmful, where that ongoing emergency is threatening an American citizen's life, as opposed to what is ongoing surveillance, for example, at the neighborhood 7-Eleven or the neighborhood Stater Brothers, where the entity is gang stalking you in the grocery store, where they are stalking you. They're stalking you in the same environment. 9PKZ058. Now, when I document this third-party gang stalking me Monday through Thursday, like the serial stalkers, that's federal prison. When I'm documenting you gang stalking, you have a case for terrorism, but you're talking about the entity that's going to prison, axiomatic prison, okay? Mandated when you're doing exactly what I'm capturing in this video. So P.O.C., that's the demon with no license plate. The vagina monitor maintaining surveillance because he wanted to make sure he was there to monitor my vagina one more time, in concert with the demon stalking by helicopter. The Ontario Police Department have made themselves irrelevant. They've made themselves disposable. They're engaging in surveillance surrounding my vagina. They're not engaged in any law enforcement. And there is a body of evidence showing there is no coincidence with regard to me always capturing them, stalking me while I'm documenting their co-defendants who are mentally ill as them, as mentally ill as them. It's the Nephilim. The Nephilim have no business in law enforcement, and that's why Mike LORENZ is being federally prosecuted. That's why Paul Leon is being removed from office. He's subject to a federal prosecution as well. That's why the people of the state are being federally prosecuted for engaging in what is the group sex act of violence, which is committed in furtherance of murder. They are no ordinary sex offender. That's P.O.C. And for you to document the people of the state that are stalking you with the government, and then the government pulls out a helicopter, the people of the state are going to prison. That's what that African-American male is getting. I'm capturing him on more than one occasion, and he is engaging what is threatening me while he is monitoring my vagina, and I document that sex act, and then the entity is engaging in terrorism. Both the demons in the helicopter and the demons engaging in surveillance with that department are subject to prison. This is P.O.C. It is currently 6:08 p.m., and I am not mincing words. This is establishing precedent, and that's exactly what is going to happen. P.O.C.